Right. In light with it being the end of June, I'm gonna do a full Q2 reflection because I just feel like it's about that time. Um, so Q2 is from the 1st of April to now, right, the 30th of June, and in this time, I've made massive progress in terms of where I'm going and what I'm doing. So I think we just have to do it month by month because then it makes more sense. So I don't even want to compare to last Q2 because Q2 25 was insane. Going back to the buses, going back to when I was in East Kilbride, that was all the foundation to get here. So the first thing really was obviously once the van got taken away and the whole fiasco, on that day I got a job, right? Out of the blue, didn't look for it, and the job was literally down the road. If that's not calling, I don't know what is, right? Just not on top of that, it's a senior role, and I'll be getting paid the highest rate. Plus, you know, it's more secure than if you didn't have that. So, because right now I'm creating my own cash flow, my own role. I could work 7 days a week, 6 days a week. It's amazing. So even though I'm on 0 hours, I managed to secure myself 4 or 5 days a week, whatever I need, right? So I don't have no travel costs. So that now has been in a position in the van life to save a lot of money, right? A lot of hours, a lot of money. Just got to take it for what it is, right? And now I've got that in April. Beginning of April is when I started, right? And I got my first pay in like May, second pay in June, right? Monthly pay. Got a team in there. And I'm kind of cemented. Like, I feel like there's no reason we lose this job. I go through like a 2 month mark, in the past, and now it's like I go to double that and keep that by at least August, July, and then just be on point. That's all I gotta say. I think the hardest thing is staying awake. It's a night job, but I've been a night owl for how many years? So this job again is my core job. Is probably my primary job, and then my second job is the one I've had since December, and that just adds to what I'm doing. So that helps me a lot in terms of me, being mortgage ready, in terms of me collecting payslips and bank statements. And obviously, this is just the core. So these two jobs are the core, but I need to do it added together. It's being in a nice place financially every month in the van life because the van life money is not a lot. So I've already picked up my credit card, paid under 30%. The next thing really is this sales job. So the good thing about this sales job is that it's self-employed and it's uncapped commission, right? So in light of me going to these consistent every month property network events in Glasgow since December 25, I've managed to compound over time and get myself a job, right? I didn't expect to get a job. To be honest, it was just opportunities, right? Hearing conversations and taking advantage of opportunities that are around you. So, I've even got myself a mentor, who's buy to let mentor who's been investing in homes since 2023. That gives little tiny bits of advice, and then when he's ready to give you big chunks of advice, obviously he'll help you, get money and do that. Got myself an accountability partner. So this is someone that's doing rent to rent. She's a black girl from Glasgow. She's obviously who lives in Glasgow, sorry, but yeah, obviously she's doing rent to rent. I'm doing buy to let. And I met another guy, a black American guy who's married to a Scottish girl with 2 kids, who I met him at one of the event as well. And I've invited my colleague to an event. I've just been consistent and obsessive and not thinking about it on a short term scale. I'm learning through conversations. I'm learning really about their model and just really going hard, really. So, I make this a long film because there's a lot to go through. But anyway, from these events, it compounded essentially, right, to get a job, right, in the end. That was the big thing, right? So the accountability partner is someone that I meet every week. And then once I got the job, it was like the icing on the cake because everyone knows my story. Go and watch my story. 30 handwritten letters delivered, right, to 30 estate agents in Glasgow. That was the challenge. Didn't get a job for it, right? I got close calls. I got 6 calls, right, out of that. And then out of the 6, I got 2 potentials, right? One was a really, really massive estate agency. So it taught me what standing out is. It taught me, how to create like a potential CV. But then I thought about long term. If I had these night jobs and trying to do this core Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, it would be very hard for me to commit long term. So this is a beneficiary would have worked out in the long run. Because imagine going through all that and then not keeping the job for the right time frame. So, and you work for someone who has a small business who doesn't care that much about aesthetic, meaning I'm still the only black guy in the team. I've got 4 people in my team, my CEO, they're all white. But, when you're looking at estate agents, they're looking at aesthetic. I remember talking to the guy in Coram who had he was a successful businessman, right, in Scotland. He's my mum's age, and he was telling me about the business, how he started, was trying to grow. And what made me, that's my 30th letter, by the way, what made me do it is the aesthetic of the office, because the office looked really good, right? The office is really good. So I ended up handing that letter and getting a call back. And then I got a call back from another agency who I was going through the process, said, they didn't go for my application. So, but sometimes it's crazy because sometimes I feel like failure is moving in a direction. Might not be their direction right now. And they're gonna go to other stories. So again, just on a fast track, got the new job in April, got the second job in May. So now the new house, because I'm now looking at, how I'm gonna get a mortgage. That's what this whole point's about. So now I'm living with no fixed abode, right? So at the moment, I'm like, I need an address. I need to. So I've now sacrificed, say, for 1 month of living expenses, 3 to 6 months of living expenses to pay off debt, right? The biggest debt, like I said, was a credit card. And then now going online and put the postcode in from where I'm working, I said, cool, if I rent a flat, right, to get an address, I can now get my credit, and secure an address and whatever. So I was like, cool, I can fork out the money and do that, right? It's an investment at the end of the day to secure an address. So anyway, once I got an opportunity for a house which is down the road from my work, failed the application because of my adverse credit CCJ started to really go hard. Like I've done a mortgage advisor appointment, which told me about all the stuff I'm doing, and I've kind of already had the game because I already been studying about credit. So obviously I know that this is coming off by next August. It being on there is hard, so paying it off is the only power I really have, right? And not getting the yard really showed me I should have paid that CCJ. If I paid that top of the year, I might have got the house. So once that's paid now, that forced me, well, once I didn't get the yard, that forced me to get the CCJ paid and settled. And then all in one day, I rang them, paid them, got it settled through email, and then done. It should show on my credit file in the next couple of weeks. So now I'm in a position where I can go to stations and say this, right? Um, but again, that's another major debt that's gone. The next one's got a loans thing on there that can go mid-July. There's no rush. But the CCJ was the biggest killer. A credit card is a slow builder for credit. So ultimately, that's really what it's about. It's building the credit, getting mortgage ready. So going for private houses is like going for a mortgage because they ask for the same things, right? They ask for ID, proof of address, 3 months of bank statements, 3 months of pay slips, and they do a credit check, right? Because you're not gonna do a credit check for a council yard, right? So it's yeah, this is the situation I'm in at the moment. And even today, I'm doing 2 viewings. I didn't stop, and then I done one yesterday. But like I said, going back to that, 2 new jobs, new house failed, bam, CCJ gone, credit card paid, bam. It's like I'm making slow progress through all of these months of doing events. Bam, I got a job in sales in a estate agent, small business. Amazing. I'm going in the office tomorrow and Thursday. So it's an opportunity, bro. That's all I wanted. I might not know what to do. I might have to figure out the numbers and work for my weaknesses. But at the end of the day, I've made slow progress in this time. And like obviously, yeah, I've sacrificed having savings to invest in an address, to invest in a new van which is coming up, and to obviously start making money from a cash flow asset, right? And obviously, I was always dibbled and dabbled in my strategy. I've always looked at buy to let, and I thought if I get my first 30K, that's where it starts. Getting a milestone stacked from like 1K, 2K, but on a monthly basis, it didn't take too long. So my long term milestone to get this property is March 28. But if you want to put it forward, it would be March 27. But my CCJ is not off till August 27. So I can bite the bullet, pay the money, right, for the expenses for having a CCJ on there, settled or not, it's still adverse credit. Even though I built, 3 to 6 months of good credit conduct, I still got it on there. It's not going to remove itself till August. I'll wait till August, get a better rate, or go to a specialist lender and get my foot, just get in the game, right? And even the property, I don't really mind about the property. Doesn't have to be the best. If I'm looking to build a portfolio, build it through a limited company. The new van next will be my first business asset. So I'll get my holding company, I'll get my company, and then after that, I'll buy my first business asset through the company, and then obviously following will be the properties and the businesses and stuff like that. That's the idea, obviously, of that framework of buying assets that you don't own, that you own the asset that owns that business assets. That's kind of the structure. So, and obviously, I still want to do my Black Kings, but I want to make sure I'm in a position financially where I can breathe. And I feel like, in terms of my strategy, I could do rent to rent, so many. But I think what makes sense, what I got advised by somebody that was ahead of me, was buy a house 6 to 12 months, maybe longer, remortgage it, get a bridging loan with a little bit of savings, and then use that to get your first buy to let. Because buy to lets, I've been looking at it for so long. The average is £200-300 a month. That's not life changing. You need about 5-10 properties, and you got to manage 5-10 properties. That's a headache. So you got to know what you're going to start with from your position to get in the game. So for me, getting down to living, to remortgage, to get another house, that makes sense. But again, I could accelerate everything. The job is the core. So the end of all of this, the free cause is me going to these monthly events. And then this job, this is in property, which is going to help me with networking, sales. It's going to help me with skills. It's going to help me with so many things. I can see myself doing this for a year, sticking at my core job for a year. And obviously, yeah, just staying in that property as well. If I can stay in that property with 18 years living independently experience, meaning I can go in with council tax pay for the year. I can go in, quarterly bills, making sure that, my rent is paid every month, making sure that I'm living frugal on the food. This property I just viewed yesterday, all furnished. So all I got to do is just unload this van in there, done. But I just need to make sure that someone's flexible enough to make me going with the CCJ, man. That's the hardest thing. And if I do that, it's a new start. It's a big financial cut, but it's an investment. It's going to push me, not force me, but pressure me. But it's going to kind of motivate me to hit these sales and these numbers. Because when people are thinking 900, it's a lot of money a month. But I'm saying, look, if I made double that, that money wouldn't mean anything. So I'm in a position where it's in my control. You know what I mean? So for now, I've got a great position. I'm happy where I am. I'm looking forward to Q26, man. Q3, amazing. I can't wait. So much things planned. I'm not going to mention it in this video. But Q2 just came from me consistently persisting, going to events, handing letters, going for 15 jobs. And then I just, you know what I mean? It's just like thing just happens, right? And it's that alignment you're just working towards, what you're working towards. You get thrown off, but then you get thrown with blessings. So at the end of the day, the moral of the story is you have to be consistent through the failures and disappointments because you're not going to get anywhere if you quit, right? There's points in this whole journey, right? Even when I got fired from Next or my nephew left my flat after he's going to move in, I could have walked away then when I lost my flat in London. But no, I still stuck with it and said, I'm going to keep going no matter what. That's my determination. It's literally unreal. It's obsessive. And I'll see you on the other side. Love.